Hey, Armin here. Welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show, where we cover training, nutrition, supplementation strategies, and a whole lot more. So stand by. Hey, and welcome to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
Hey, I'm Frank Mills, and thank you for watching or listening to the show today. We appreciate it very much. Today's pretty great show here. We're going to talk about something a little different today. We're going to be talking about how accurate is ChatGPT for nutrition. Now, if you haven't heard of ChatGPT, you're going to find out all about that today. And also, we've got a lot of great fan questions and content for you as well. That being said, all right, so let's get started, Armin. Chat GPT, I'm sure a lot of people probably haven't heard of this, but I guess I'm going to assume here that you've had some experience with it. So, I'm kind of interested about this, exactly what happened.
Yeah, I was kind of intrigued too when I got clients like, hey, check this out. And they were using it for other purposes, but I thought,
Right.
I was pretty curious. Okay, let me see what this thing says and the response time and all that. And then I thought, well, let me see how it affects nutrition.
Okay.
And so I basically was asking questions, some fundamental questions about nutrition to kind of see what the viewpoint was, because obviously it's going to make a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really curious.
So ChatGPT, it's a AI where you can ask a question and it gives you an accurate answer
Yeah.
to your question, basically.
Well, it gives you an answer. Okay. Now,
Okay.
accurate, that's something we're going to talk about, but it does
Gotcha.
give you an answer.
Right.
And it moves pretty rapidly to detail the answer. Currently what people do, they go on to, Google, do a Google search on that particular thing, and then Google would have some stuff you can, scroll down and reference to. But, with Chat GPT, it just starts spitting it out to you, and then you can decide what you want to do with that information once you get it done.
Interesting. Well, back in the old days, because we're older guys, we had
Yeah.
encyclopedias and dictionaries, right? So,
If you're lucky enough to have them, yeah. Other than that, yeah,
right, right.
go to the library. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. So I am kind of curious. What kind of questions were you asking this Chat GPT program?
Well, I just started, I thought, well, let me see what it says about carbohydrates. And so I asked the question of, you know, what are some myths about carbohydrates? And I wanted
Right.
to see, okay, let me see what it says.
Interesting. So what kind of response did you get?
Well, it was definitely interesting. So, like, one of the myths was this, and I was like, huh, it says eating carbohydrates will make you gain weight. That's a myth. So it's saying it doesn't make you gain weight. And I'm just like, wow, that is so not true. But hey, that's me and that's my opinion on it. But there's plenty of science that states otherwise. So I was just kind of wondering, okay, who's feeding this information to the AI system? This just sounds like a food company right out of the box, in my opinion. So I was
Right.
like, wow.
So did it give you that answer, or was there a little more to that answer in regards to your
Yeah.
question?
So what it exactly said was that, eating too many calories from any source can lead to weight gain, not just carbohydrates. So it's saying that carbohydrates aren't as big a factor because it's all about calories. And so it's important to eat a balanced diet that includes a variety of foods. So
Right.
that's what it
Right.
said. So that was like, oh, well, that that's only true to a point. I mean, calories in, calories out, I get that, but it's not addressing the fact that insulin is involved at all. And so that
Right.
was the thing. I was like, that's a pretty important element with science behind it. So
Right.
anyway, so I was just
Right.
like, wow.
Interesting. So, you asked the question, you got the answer. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, right now it seems like in the media, all the experts want to talk about is calories in and calories out, which is that's an issue in itself.
Right.
Okay, so because how accurate is the calories you're really tracking that you're taking in? That's a question. And then how
Right.
accurate is the calories that you're actually burning? Because there's not a lot of stuff that's accurate with that. So,
Right.
potentially measuring calories going in is somewhat accurate, but that's based on, like one chicken breast that was weighed, you know, in the 50s or when they first came out with the food pyramid, they weighed a chicken breast and said, okay, here's the stats on it. Well, that one particular chicken breast could be that exact amount, or it could be higher, it could be lower, et cetera. So I was like,
Hmm.
this is pretty interesting. So to me, it was this a calorie counter type of expert from, again, I think it's from the food industry.
Right.
Now,
Right.
interestingly enough, like I said before, it doesn't mention anything about insulin being involved, and how insulin will store excess carbs. That's any carb, I don't care what it is, that cannot go into the muscles and the liver, because they're going to go to the fat cells, because that's what insulin does. It's a storage hormone.
Okay.
um,
Okay.
and so it's like insulin's not even a factor at all. And I'm just like, how can that not be a really important factor? So that was just my take on it. I was kind of shocked. I was like, unbelievable. But it gets better.
Well, that is really crazy because if you ate 1,000 calories of protein, or as you said, 1,000 calories of potato chips,
Well, there's a huge
there's
difference there, yeah.
yeah, I would say so. So for it to say that you're not going to gain weight, yeah, that's a little crazy. Okay, I'm curious. Did you ask it other questions? Were there other myths that you actually found out?
Yeah, this one really floored me. Okay. This one says the myth is that carbohydrates cause diabetes. It has nothing to do with diabetes. I'm like, I was just like, oh my God.
All right, yeah, you're kidding, right?
So I was totally shocked. And,
Oh,
and so just so you know, here's what the response was. And it's like it's a fact that when you read this stuff. And so
uh-huh.
this is the reason I thought it's important to bring it up, because if somebody doesn't know any better, uh, this is just false information. But anyways, it talks about, well, diabetes is a complex disease with many factors that can contribute to the development, including genetics, lifestyle. Well, what's lifestyle mean? I mean, what is that exactly?
Right,
And
right,
other health conditions. Okay. So it says eating a balanced diet that includes healthy sources of carbohydrates can actually help manage blood sugar levels and prevent the development of type 2 diabetes. You know, I don't know. I
wow,
just cannot believe it says that. So this is, to me, is somebody's narrative to, again, don't get into what types of foods it is. Just
yeah,
count your calories, and that's all that matters. And this is absolutely just not true. So
yeah.
that's why I thought, well, I gotta talk to people about this.
Yeah, so people know, because a lot of people are going to think that's accurate, and it's just like anything else. You have to do your due diligence to find that out. But Armin, did it say exactly what a balanced diet means and if it would prevent diabetes?
Of course not. I mean, the bigger question is,
Eh,
how many people are really eating a balanced diet?
right,
So, because
right,
that's a really vague statement in this day and age, and and this is their personal situation. So, who's eating a balanced diet?
right,
And is a
right,
balanced diet having a sandwich for lunch, like a lot of people are doing, which I wouldn't recommend. But I mean, I just couldn't believe it. They said eating carbs will prevent diabetes, but it doesn't say how that's going to happen,
right,
because carbs are involved with insulin, and insulin's what causes insulin resistance. It's what causes prediabetes and then leads to diabetes. I mean, at the end of the day, Frank, my God, just look around. How many people look really healthy and not overweight? I
right,
mean,
right.
it's a serious problem. I mean, I hate to say it, but this shit is just ridiculous when you make these kind of statements, because people think, oh, I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you eat. It's just I got to watch my calories. So they're blaming
Right.
everything on calorie intake, and that's just wrong on so many levels. In my opinion, there's plenty of science to back it up, but so that's why I was like, oh my god, I was like,
Right.
unbelievable, man.
Right. Well, that is unbelievable. I'm afraid to ask, is there more?
Yeah, so I asked if carbohydrates are an essential nutrient,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I mean,
And
I was just like,
well, so
go
what
ahead.
was the response that you
It
got for
says,
that?
yeah, carbohydrates. Yeah, it says carbohydrates are an essential nutrient, that provides energy for the body. So it goes on to say that carbohydrates are the body's primary source of fuel and are necessary for the proper functioning of the brain, nervous system, and muscles. Then it says the body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, doesn't say how, which is then used by the cells for energy, uh, unless you had too much, apparently. While the body can use fat and protein for energy, as well, carbohydrates are the most efficient and, again, preferred source of energy that for the body. So, therefore, it is important to include healthy sources of carbohydrates in your diet to ensure that you're getting enough energy and nutrients for optimal health. And I mean, I just got to just gag on this whole response. I mean, it's like, okay, so at the end of the day, what is essential is fatty acids from fats and essential amino acids from protein. That's what's
Right.
essential. Okay, carbohydrates are again, they're a resource that are used to reload the muscles and liver with glucose, but they are not essential. You don't have to have them to survive. I mean, am I taking that to the extreme? Okay, well, I'm taking that to the extreme if someone wants to look at it that way, but the facts are they're not essential when you ask that question.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so I was just like, all right, so there's a lot of there's didn't appear to be a lot of science relation behind this ChatGPT with what I'm asking it.
Right. Right. And the thing that I find humorous about it is if you just think back before there was any processed food, or
Yeah,
anything man-made, any mass
look at
production of any food, there
look at the
was,
50s and the 60s, 50s and
yeah, I mean,
60s. How
you're
many fat people would you see and even the
right,
70s for that matter?
right. Well, you had meat, you had vegetables, you had fruits, nuts.
And if you're lucky to get them, and some of it
Yeah,
was seasonal, some of it wasn't.
right.
So you weren't overeating for one, but at the same time we didn't have diabetes running rampant like we do now. It's running rampant. It's
Yeah,
off the charts.
yeah,
So
yeah.
anyways, so
Well, it's no wonder that people are so confused when it comes to trying to lose body fat. They don't understand that, a simple conversation that you and I had that I had no idea is in the morning, I have my coffee, and what I used to
yeah,
do, I would have like a big mug of coffee. I would do 2 heaping
yeah.
spoonfuls of white granular sugar and pour
Mm,
some milk in, thinking no big deal. But the
yeah,
sugar
well,
from
that's
the
what I'm
milk
talking
and the
about.
sugar from the sugar stopped my fat burning for how long, right? No matter
Yeah,
what.
it's going to be typically 3 to 4 hours at a minimum. Okay,
Okay.
because insulin's got to come down. But then with most people, they need more energy, so they're gonna eat again with the 5 to 6 meal crap. That's
Mm-hmm.
they act like that's a good solution, which is
Right.
again, I'm not for that. But
Well, and then let's say at lunch, I have, um, you know, a healthy, like a Cobb salad with meat in it, right?
yeah,
But
there
to
you go.
drink, I have an iced tea and I put sugar in it. Again, no fat burning for another 4 hours,
You're
right?
gonna offset it, yeah, because
Right.
insulin's got to process the sugar. Yeah. 5 grams or more of carbohydrate or sugar is going to require insulin to come up. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
it's a really small amount, it's going to come up and then drop back down. But people are eating a hell of a lot more carbohydrates than that. So,
Right.
anyways,
So then for dinner, you have like a steak and a baked potato and some steamed broccoli. You think you're doing good, but then you
yeah,
have a can of Pepsi or you have another iced tea with sugar in it. And again, 4 more hours, defeating the purpose. And then
yeah,
let's say about 8 or 9 o'clock, I think I'm going to have a scoop of ice cream.
there you go. Yeah.
Your fat burning is for shit the whole day.
And
And
the only time you
you,
burn fat is when you go to sleep. Yeah, at that
right,
point.
right. And then you think that you're doing great, but what you've really done is accomplish nothing. Because you're shutting down your body from burning fat.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to burn fat, so you're just going to be burning the carbohydrates that you're taking in. So then that's why you got to, and they act like because you're in a calorie deficit that all of a sudden the fat's just going to come ramping up. No,
Right.
as the
Right.
carbohydrates get low, that's when neoglucogenesis can kick in and start breaking down muscle to get some glucose because the insulin's still up. So that's the biggest problem.
And you can run all the miles and do all the treadmill and cardio you want. If
Yeah.
you're shutting down your fat burning, it's not going to matter.
Well, you're just going to burn glucose. That's
Yeah.
what you burn when you exercise, anyways. You don't really
Right.
burn fat when you
Right.
exercise. You typically
Right.
burn fat through your nutrition and throughout the day if you're eating properly. You'll burn some fat from after exercising if
Mm-hmm.
you've kept your insulin down. Now, exercise will reduce your insulin. It'll help push it down, which is good. But you don't burn fat until that insulin's out of the way. And there's people that argue that you can still burn fat. Well, all right, let's just say you could. It's not going to be much at all. I mean, let's just be real, okay? Because your body wants glucose, which it gets from being stored in the muscles in the liver. So,
Well, honestly, Armin, it's also very confusing because with the marketing of the food and the supplements and all the things that are out there, not to mention
yeah,
what we watch in TV shows and movies, the
yeah,
mentality is, well, if I run every day and I get my workout in, I'm going to look like that. And it's just
yeah,
not that easy. I mean, it's your nutrition plan and your
yeah.
supplementation is really the foundation. It's not that other stuff. That other stuff helps, don't get me wrong, but you know, I mean, how long have we talked about this and we just keep seeing things that are keep pumping out this misinformation? It's scary. It really is.
I mean, Vince figured it all out then. I mean, back in the
Yeah.
50s, he had it
Yeah.
all figured out, and it worked. But somehow they've been able to reconfigure everything
Yeah.
because they were saying, "Oh, it's all about cholesterol, so you can't have fats anymore." And then the magic solution was, let's just have all these carbohydrates. Now nobody even realized, well, how much the insulin is going to be a factor on this. It's just like
Right.
that. Well, it's not a factor. Anyways, I mean, it's just real frustrating. So I was just really taken back by the responses.
Yeah.
Now I've had a couple of people tell me, well, it hasn't been updated since 2020. It's like, well, what's the difference, man? I mean, it's been around for a long time. This isn't
Right.
anything new. I mean,
Right.
insulin is involved with storing fat. It's a storage hormone. Anyways,
It's kind of like an AI kind of a Wikipedia type thing, right? I mean, it gives you an
uh,
answer. It's not always accurate.
yeah. So the point being, listen, if you want to check it out, check it out, but just understand, take that with a grain of salt. You're going to have to probably do some additional research to really get the right answer. So that's my point on us talking about this today.
All right. So if somebody wants to find it, they just head onto their internet browser and type in ChatGPT.
Yeah, you had to sign up for it, and
Okay.
then it's
Okay.
really it gets really busy. So um, yeah, you may not be able to use it depending on the time of day, and you'll have to wait until it's available. So because there is a
Wow.
lot of use on it. So yeah,
Wow.
it's getting a lot of use.
Hmm.
But people are using it for a lot of other things. How to write stories and how to do marketing text and stuff like that. So I kind of get that.
Okay.
But I was just looking at it from the standpoint, well, if somebody goes looking for this for training information, nutrition information, what's it going to say? And so now I know.
Right. Well, as we wrap up, any final thoughts with this?
Yeah, again, just don't believe everything that you get from a
Right.
chat bot.
Right.
So, it's probably not going to be that accurate. It doesn't mean there may not be some stuff that's accurate, but I was not impressed. So again, my biggest fear is if people keep going on to this and getting help and they think they're getting, the correct answers, that's not really the case. So just be your own advocate, and no matter what the source is, do a little more research on it. And this is what I got to do all the time. I got to filter through all the crud out there. And why there's so much of it out there, I have no idea, but there is. And then people want to argue about why they feel like their stuff's accurate. It's like, okay, so that's probably why you have to do all this. But at the end of the day, I've been pretty good at filtering through it. So, anyways.
Okay. Well, again, Armin, thanks for a lot of great information, and we definitely appreciate it. Everybody can check out ChatGPT if you like. And with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. Stand by for a quick word from NSP Nutrition, and Armin and I will be right back.
Hey, and welcome back to the NSP Nutrition Show. I'm Armin Eckelbarger.
Hey, I'm Frank Mills, and before we get started, I guess it's National Athletic Month, and on NSP Nutrition, you can get 15% off select supplements on your order, which is pretty terrific, I think. You can also buy one digital product and get the other one for half off. So they're offering you some savings. So everybody check out nspnutrition.com. And, Armin, when we come up with content for the show, a lot of things, we get a lot of Q&A from our audience and topics and things like that. But you got me thinking about this information on the internet. And, even for experienced people that are working out, if you're trying to find out information on nutrition, on supplementation, on a new workout, all that kind of thing, the internet has a ton of information now where you don't have to even go pay for anything anymore. But
well, you get what you pay for.
Right. So here's the thing is, a lot of the audience that we have here at NSP, they're experienced people. They have been in the actual fitness world for a while. They have their nutrition down. Of course, they're trying to learn things like all of us are, but they're a more experienced audience, and we appreciate them watching and listening to the show. For those new members, or maybe they've only been doing it for 6 months or a year, just working out and stuff like that, do you have any advice for them on really the proper way to get started to make sure that they're on track with their goals and their workout plans, so they get started off on the right foot? Because that's why a lot of people, I think, quit trying to work out, is they don't get the results, right?
Yeah, that's pretty common. I mean, what I think people need to consider doing is to have a strategy, with what you want to accomplish. And so sometimes if you don't know much, you're going to be better off getting with finding an expert to help structure things. And then you have to kind of sift through those people, make sure they are as good as they say they are. But that would be a step in the right direction. I'm not a big fan of just doing a search online and getting some kind of a workout from there, because it depends on what your goals are, not what this person's promoting.
Right.
So now I will say this: if you really want to do it, if you're new and you want to learn some fundamentals, then the NSP 21-day challenge, there's only like 11 exercises to learn. There's video demonstrations. That would be a simple way to get started and learn conditioning. And that's really what the program that Vince used for the Hollywood Stars. So it works.
Okay.
And it includes nutrition. It teaches you some nutrition on how to start burning fat, right out of the box, and then how to implement your resistance training, which is ideal. And the way it's designed, it does give you conditioning, because it's pretty fast pace. So that would be something that I think is really easy to do and simple. So you have an app that comes with that has the workout loaded in the app. So you just download the app, and then you have a video demonstration of the exercise, and then you can just plug in your results. You know, how much weight you use and how many reps you did. You can also put notes in it and stuff like that too. So
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest something like that. Other than that, get with an expert, a quality trainer to help get you fundamentally set up. And then you can always buy books and stuff and learn. Nothing wrong with that. You know, Vince Garanda's books are really good because they use a lot of different really basic movements that you don't have to have a full-fledged gym to go to. So if you have some dumbbells and barbells, you can get a lot done with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the whole thing would boil down to what they're looking to do. And like, for example, I know there's a guy in the gym I'm at now, and they have this ab roller machine, and he's got a pretty wide waist, and this guy uses his ab roller machine every single time he comes in. And I'm just like, dude, you're not getting anything out of that, and so he does the frontwards, then he does sideways on both sides, and then he does it for a certain amount of reps, and then he's out of there. I'm just like, and his waistline hasn't changed a nickel, and he does some cardio. He does the cardio first, and then he does abs. So I mean, that's just not a good way to lose body fat, and I know that's
Right.
what he's trying to do. So as an example,
It's got to be hard for you sometimes in the gym. You want to go over and tell somebody something, and you can't do it. But yeah, it's got to be
well,
pretty
here's the
tough,
thing:
right?
is if I do it, then it takes time away from my workout, which I don't. I'm a guy who trains really fast, and I don't want to be
Right.
taking time out of my workout to go correcting everybody. Now,
Right.
when I get
Right.
done, if I got a few minutes, and I'll help some people if I think they're willing to listen. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, the gym I'm at, there's not hardly one person does anything right.
Right.
So it's just like, I mean, and they're older people, which
Right.
they don't know anything apparently.
Right.
So, anyways,
Right. Yeah. That's actually pretty funny. Well, we did get a question from a
yeah,
guy named Noah, and he is over in the UK, and he was asking about, I guess, the time that you work out, eat for proper recovery. He's heard a lot of different things and read a lot of different things online in regards
yeah,
to
oh yeah,
either working out before you eat or after you eat, whatever. But he feels that it's hard for him to eat before because he doesn't want to be that full feeling, and he doesn't want to eat before the workout, at least an hour or 2 hours before the workout. So he doesn't do that, and then after the workout, he's all worked up, hot, sweaty. He doesn't have an appetite for at least an hour. So is there a
mm.
proper time to work out for Noah, or eat for Noah before his workout? Is it before, after, or does he even have to eat before or after? Is there a
Well,
timetable?
it depends on his schedule. Like, I don't train before I eat, so
Okay.
you can definitely do that and be fine. Okay, now I'm doing it in the morning, so I'm not doing it later in the day. So if
Okay.
he's got to train later in the day or later in the morning, then having some food 2 hours before would be my recommendation. That way you let
Okay.
if there's any insulin involved, it's all cleared out, and your body, your stomach is empty. You're less likely to get irritation there, which could cause you to throw up, which happens to people a lot of times if they have food too soon. So I would have something 2 hours before. If not, then train on empty stomach. But then after you get done, you do need to take something in. And if you're not hungry, then I would suggest at the very minimum, do a protein shake so that you got some amino acids from the protein to help stop the breakdown of muscle and start this protein synthesis process. And then an hour later, if you're hungry, eat. So that's
Mm-hmm.
really a good case for using a protein drink like the NSP protein would be my choice. And then if you're hungry an hour later, then go ahead and eat and just continue your day. That'd be how I would approach it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, no, hopefully it helps you out, and we wish you
Yeah.
luck on that. Let me see. Another question is from Emma, and Emma is in Houston, Texas, and Emma saw our show when we were talking about sugar, and she's going back to a show that you and I did for Frank Mills Reality Fitness. So she's been watching both of our shows.
Okay.
And I did bring up sugar earlier, but a lot of people do not understand. They are hearing that sugar is bad for them, okay? But
Mhm.
they don't understand the gravity of why sugar is so bad. And Emma likes her sweets, as we all do, depending on the time and what we're craving. I guess if it's, ice cream or whatever. But
Yeah.
her thought process is, if sugar, now hear her out, if sugar is
Okay.
natural, like natural cane sugar, right? Then why is that bad for you? And I already know the answer, but hey, we want to make sure that you know we're not trying to hurt the sugar industry, okay? But people have to
It's going strong
understand
anyways. So,
what happens to your body when you put sugar into it and why it is so bad for you. So maybe we could just kind of answer that.
well, the problem with too much sugar, I mean, your body can handle some, but
Right, right,
you're going to see different viewpoints from different professionals on that. Some of it's going to say your max is 15 grams of sugar a day. Some will
right,
say it's double that, it's 30 grams. Either way, you want to minimize sugar because again, it cranks up your insulin. And the other thing with sugar, it's 50% glucose and 50% fructose, unless it's the high fructose corn syrup. But I'm just talking about table sugar.
right, right,
So you got to watch how much fructose you get in your system because that's not good for the body. So higher levels of fructose is what can end up damaging the capillaries. So that's one of the reasons why you want to watch your sugar intake. There's not a lot of
right,
benefit
right.
to it. Plus, it makes you crave more of it, the way it affects your body.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you start running low, your body's like, hey, let's get some more sugar because it is a
Mm-hmm.
quick energy boost. So
Right, right.
yeah, you gotta be careful how much that you're taking in.
And read your labels, at least as
Oh
a
yeah,
guide, especially if you're a big cereal eater.
you don't want to
Uh,
be a big cereal eater, but
yeah,
anyways,
I mean, but there are people they actually religiously eat cereal in the morning, and
and that all came about after they threw the fats under the bus, and it's all
yeah,
about carbohydrates. And so the first thing you want to do is have a bowl of sugar, so to speak, bowl of carbs to get your day started, to get your
right,
brain functioning with those great carbohydrates to get the brain to cranking. I mean,
right,
it's obscene. And I remember back in the day when that all started happening, there were
yep,
other nutritionists saying they were against it. They're like,
right,
this isn't
right,
good. But
right.
basically all got bought out by the food companies.
Yep. Yep. Well, hey, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. And don't forget, we need your content for the show. We are always
Yep.
looking for topics, ideas, and suggestions. And it's a critical part to what we do. So please get that information in, and you can do it different ways. You can scan the QR code and send it to us directly. You can comment on YouTube right under the show content, and Armin's religiously going in there and checking that. And then also you can contact us directly through NSP Nutrition. You can email at support@nspnutrition.com. And Armin, another great show. Thanks so much. And I look forward to doing it again next week.
All right, appreciate it, and we'll hopefully get some new topics and just keep moving along. Appreciate everybody watching, and hope share with other people if you feel like it's benefiting.
All right. Thanks again for joining us, and join Armin and I next week for a brand new episode of the NSP Nutrition Show.
Hey, thanks for checking out the NSP show. Go to nspnutrition.com where you can find a whole heap of resources to help you achieve stunning definition and eye-popping levels of muscularity. Don't forget, you can save 10% on your first order by using the code NSP show at the checkout. Catch you next time.